Divorce. The internet has spoken, and divorce is the topic for today. What are the stages of a divorce? I really had a multi-part question, and it was about the stages and timelines and factors from beginning to end. So let me give a summary proceeding on divorce. A divorce is commenced by a plaintiff. The plaintiff is the one that pushes the divorce, right? Push. And the person that receives it, so that's done by a summons with notice or a summons and complaint. The summons and notice, getting ahead of myself. Hello, you're being sued for divorce. Summons and complaint. You're being sued for a divorce, and this is the reason why, in full explanation. The person that replies to a divorce is called a defendant. They defend, like football, defensive. I guess in baseball, you can have defensive, right? The defensive team is the one that's pitching, right? So your defenders are your infielders and outfielder, and the catcher, and even the pitcher if the ball's hit right to him or her if we're speaking softball, although my reference was baseball. D is for defending, plaintiff versus defendant, and the document that a defendant puts in is either a notice of appearance, hey, I'm here and I'm involved in the matter, let's speak about this further, let's negotiate, or an actual document called an answer. Amazing how we come up with this in the law. The answer to the complaint is a document called an answer. Timeframes. After someone's complaint is filed, the person has 20 days to reply. If there's any counterclaims, the plaintiff can respond to those. And then there's going to be some negotiation, some discussion, some conversation, or at least there should be. Maybe an offer by letter or a telephone call or some kind of communication and conversation about this is what the parties have, this is how I propose we split it up, and depending on how complicated it is, and how agreeable the parties are, that dictates how the case is going to go. Now, if there's that offer made, or even if there's no offer, but there's no conversation, no communication, people at this, right, whatever this is, banging our heads against each other. If there is no agreement, someone, plaintiff or defendant, has to ask for a preliminary conference that says, let's get in front of a judge, let's get a judge assigned to the case, let's have more and further discussion. It's either more or for the first time conversation, and let's discuss it. And then ultimately that goes all the way to a divorce. Preliminary conference, compliance conference, several compliance conferences, perhaps discovery, litigation documents back and forth, all the way to a pretrial conference, and then ultimately or a settlement. Resolution by written agreement can happen as well. We always push for settlement. I'm sure many other attorneys as well. We prepare for trial and we try to settle. Preparation always, trial if necessary, and settlement preferred because you intelligently, specifically say what you can take, can accept, what you can give up. That's why we try and settle. You should know how to get an attorney for your child in a divorce. Well, you don't have to do anything because the court appoints an attorney for a child. If you are in the middle or the beginning, probably not at the end, of a divorce, and custody or parenting time is an issue, a judge in the matrimonial matter will either on their own or by a request of an attorney in the case, appoint a lawyer for the child. So in New York, the attorney for a child is called exactly that, AFC, attorney for a child. Years ago, when I first started in that role, it had a different name. And it was law guardian. As we know from past videos, guardian is a loaded word. There's so many different cases where there's a guardian ad litem, or a guardian through surrogate's court, or a guardian through Supreme Court, or a guardian in a family court case, right? It's a title that is used across multiple disciplines. So they moved away from the title of law guardian, which the mandate of that particular attorney representing the child was what is in the best interest of that child. And several years ago, they moved to AFC, and the mandate, my obligation as an attorney for a child in a case, is to take on the role of an advocate for the client. So mother has an attorney, father has an attorney, and now the child has an attorney, and the child has to advocate for the position of the child. If that person, your young child, is sufficiently mature and can articulate a position, well, then you advocate for that position. I don't want to visit. I don't want to spend overnights. I would like to live with this parent or that parent. And based on the rationale, the explanation, and the articulation, then you can advocate for that position, right? So Sometimes children will say, I don't want to eat my broccoli. I don't want to take that exam. I don't want to study. I don't want to do my homework, right? So we have to reason. I don't want to visit mom or dad. Well, it's an order of the court. Is that a permissible event? But if it can be based on factual circumstances and an articulated position, I don't want to visit this particular parent because I feel uncomfortable for X, Y, and Z reason or something else. And maybe there needs to be an intervention, a therapeutic intervention or something else. But a parent, in the instance of a divorce, you can request for an attorney for a child to be appointed, but you do not independently go out and hire that attorney. So in special education, you would hire an attorney for a child, and if a child commits a certain act that, if committed by an adult, would be a criminal act, and it's a juvenile delinquency case, well, you can hire an attorney for that purpose. So you have an 11-year-old that maybe does graffiti, or a 14-year-old that maybe, I don't know, takes some other steps like robbing an ATM. Well, that would be a crime if committed by someone over the age of 18. That could be an act of juvenile delinquency, and you can hire an attorney for that purpose. So in the divorce, it's based on a judge or an application, and then an order is issued for who's going to be paying the attorney for the child and at what rate, and it's billed hourly. And if you have any questions about this, please reach out. I can speak all things law. I guess I can. I really can. It's amazing. Give me a topic, and I will speak to you about it. Speak to all of you about it. The entire internet is my domain. Reach out. Take a look at the website, frankbrunolaw.com.